Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the Rebecca and Knits YouTube channel. I'm Bex and you are so very welcome here. Thank you if you are returning, and hello if you have managed to find my little corner of the internet where I like to talk about my knitting and crafting and all the things that I have been up to. As usual, it's been a while since I've managed to post a video, and I might as well call this episode the WIP episode because I have so many WIPs. I'm sure I mentioned on my last episode about trying to finish the things that are on my needles before the end of the year and resisting the urge to cast on new things. Failed miserably at that, guys. I have lots of new WIPs and I have some finished objects, yes. And what else do I have to talk about? Just a whole lot of knitting, a little bit of spinning, and have I done any crochet? Not really. Not since I finished the blanket. So let's get into it, shall we? To start with, what I'm wearing today, this is My Secret Crop by Jessie May Designs. I have no idea when I made this. I did not put any dates in my Ravelry page. It was that long ago, well before I started doing a podcast. Gotta be like, I don't know, 2021, 2022 or something I made this. It is definitely a crop, as you can see, very short. I use this using one single DK weight skein of Yeah Yarns like DK base, and that was not quite enough to make a top that fit myself. So the black is Black Pearl by Skeins, the colourway Barbosa, and I can't quite remember the colourway for the Yeah yarn, but it is actually on my Ravelry page. That's there. I really like this top. I tend to wear it like I am now, with like a very high-waisted skirt or jeans, or sometimes over a dress. And it's great for a day like today that's about 21 degrees, sunny, but it's not hot, but it's warm. So I really enjoy wearing this kind of thing. So it's lovely to get the summery knits out. And I'm on a bit of a singlet kick at the moment. You'll see soon that I have several singlet WIPs. What else to talk about? Finished objects. Obviously, October was Socktober. I did not this year participate in the MCAL by Stephen West, which I have previously, but I decided this year to focus on Socktober rather than the MCAL, and I completed 7 pairs of socks during October, which I thought was quite impressive actually. I have a couple of them here to show you in person, and some others that I don't have here. I made socks for my 3 daughters, so I'll pop in a picture of them wearing their socks. The pair for the youngest daughter didn't work out so well. They were actually a little bit small, and it turns out that the yarn that I used, I got each of my girls to pick some mini skeins and leftovers from my stash, and the yarn Rhea chose for the toes and heels, I think. Or was it for the main body of the sock? I think it was the main body of the sock actually. I think it was just a merino with no nylon content. So she wore them in her shoes to school the day after I finished them, and they like completely felted, and they were just too small. They wouldn't stay up. So I promised her a second pair. I did attempt to do sock surgery and lengthen them, but it was all just so felted from the one day that she'd worn them in her shoes to school that I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. There was no stitch definition left to pick up. So we just binned those pair, to be completely honest, and then I made her a new pair. So that's 4 pairs, and then what else did I knit? These were my Mama Willing socks for the month. This is the beautiful colorway. Sorry, the lighting's not that great that she came out with, and I cannot remember the colorway name, but the pattern I used was Butterfly Kisses by the Crazy Sock Lady, and so it's got this beautiful it's not a dip stitch, it's like a slip stitch that you then catch to make these butterflies. So I did that, and then I did the contrast for the cuff and the toe. This is actually not the contrast that came with it. It came with like a bright purple, kind of Wicked-esque mini skein, and this was called Trick or Treat, I think. But I decided I didn't want the Halloweeny vibe, so I went with the pink. Can't remember if I think I talked about this on my last episode, did I? Did I show these on my last episode? I can't even remember. Anyway, I finished them. That was part of my Socktober. I made this pair of socks from my very own hand spun. Hold on, I'm just going to go and shut that blind and see if I can get a bit better lighting, because I feel like you can't see anything. 1 second. Is that any better? I feel like it is. I've just shut the blind here. I have a side lit window. This is made from my own hand spun, which is one of my first ever knittable hand spuns, and it was from, the fibre is from Handmaiden, and it was a Corriedale with these little nylon-y nips, and I held it with a strand of mohair from Skeins because it didn't have any nylon in the hand spun, just to give it some strength. And so these are like super thick wintry beady socks. And I must have made one other pair if I made 7. 3 for my daughters, and then another pair for Rhea, and then hand spun, and Mama Wooling's ones. Ah, of course. I must have a photo of them. Where are they? I made another pair for myself with Fiddlesticks yarn. Do I have one? Here we go. I'll pop it on the blocker. I have one of them here. I have worn these and the Mama Wooling ones, so apologies, they're not pristine, but I also made these because I got to the end of all those other ones and I was like, it's not the end of the month yet. Let's see if I can squeeze in one more pair. So these ones are just a vanilla sock. They are made with Fiddlesticks sock yarn, which I brought from Goodwill Hunting. And I've just done a basic vanilla sock here, and I did do a contrast heel just with a mini skein from my stash. It was probably Mama Wooling because most of my mini skeins are Mama Wooling. And I did an afterthought heel on these, which I haven't done in quite a while. I've been doing the shadow wrap heel most usually, but I wanted these ones to just be something like just knitted tube as long as I felt like knitting it, and then put in a heel. So I think I ended up doing 100 rows from the cuff to the toe, and then I put in my heel at 60 because that's how many rows I like for my foot. 2.25mm needles, 56 stitches is my standard for my socks that fit me. I think I did maybe 46 for these ones. I can't quite remember. It's on the Ravelry project page. So those are all my finished socks from Socktober. I had a great time. I love knitting socks. I find them really relaxing and easy to pick up and put down. They don't take any brain power, and I can add in little details or change things up as I like. That's my socks. Sorry if I'm talking really fast. I have quite a small window of time between just getting home from a whole pile of errands this morning and when my kids will come home from school and make a racket. And then we have lots of after school activities on a Friday, which it is a Friday today. So I'm just trying to squeeze this in. So apologies if I'm rushing. Put me on like 0.75 time or something. The other thing I finished, which I'm pretty sure I talked about in my last episode, was the test knit that I signed up for the Crayabaya, which was for the Kintra, I don't know, knitting bag, project bag. So this is a pattern that is coming out, I think, early December or the last week of November, and it is 3 accessory designs that is coming out by the Crayabaya with her Kintra colourwork motif. She had a Kintra sweater this time last year come out, and so this is a set of accessories. There's this project bag, which has a nice drawstring at the top, which cinches up like that, and a double knitting base to give it lots of strength and structure. There's also a hot water bottle cover, and there's a scarf. So that pattern is actually coming out soon, probably by the next time I podcast it will be out. And I really enjoyed making this. It was a bit slow slog to get through the double knitted base because it's a decent amount of double knitting, but it is nice and thick and gives it some good structure and stability. And then the colour work flew by because it's just one by one, and so it's pretty quick, and it was really fun and enjoyable. I chose to use colours for the colour work that I picked up out of the heathered yarn that I used for the top and the base. The heathered yarn is Highland Heathers by Skeins. The colourway is called Brigadoon, and it's kind of like this black. It's kind of like an oil slick rainbow sort of thing. So you've got all these like greens and teals and pinks and yellows, goldens through it, but kind of on this like dark base. And that's 100% New Zealand wool. And then I used black pearl, which is actually the same line as this black one here, which is it's a recycled blend. So each batch has a different composition, but a version of a mix of merino, Polworth, silk, and alpaca is in various different ones, which is not a superwash either. So, but really round and beautiful stitch definition. So I haven't blocked this because I figured it's a bag, it doesn't need blocking. And then you do an I-cord drawstring. And I actually used my cordsmith for the first time for this, which I really enjoyed once I got the hang of. It was hard to start and a bit finicky, but once I got the hang of it, it was much faster than knitting it. So I enjoyed that. So those are my finished objects since I podcast last time. And now on to all the WIPS. So many WIPS. Let's start with things you've seen before and then go on to the new things. So I'm pretty sure I showed you this last time. Hold on, I'm going to need a sip of my coffee because I'm talking so much. Christmas mugs are out. This is a cute new one I got this year. I got a set of 3 of these, one with Christmas trees, one with these ornaments, and one with a gingerbread house. I love them. That's to the side. Anyway, I think I showed you this last time. I cast on a singlet top in DK weight. This is Knitting for Olive cotton merino, which is the first time I've ever knit with this, and Dusty Artichoke. Oh yeah, we had the whole drama about could I remember the colourway name last time. Dusty Artichoke, yes. And yeah, I haven't worked on it a heap because I've since cast on 2 more singlet tops. But when I'm feeling like just doing some ribbing in the round, this is my go-to when I need something just mindless to pick up. I do usually find ribbing mindless, but this is 3x3 ribbing, and I don't find that as mindless. Actually, 1x1 and 2x2, I just hit the rhythm, probably from knitting so many socks. 3x3, not so much. And I am finding like it's a little bit harder to keep the tension really nice with the cotton merino. I've got a few loose stitches and stuff which don't look super polished, which I'm hoping once I block will get better. What else to say about this? Not much really. I think it's this pattern. Did I cast this one on my secret crop? Or it's a ripple tank. I think I actually cast on the stitch count for the ripple tank, but this one is also 3x3 rib, so it could end up being one of these. I'll decide when I've got the length right whether I want this neckline or whether I want the more traditional camisole neckline. We'll see. I might do this one. I've only got one like this, and I've got several other like V-neck camisoles. So we'll see. We'll see, because I think I'll be able to make it work either way. That is one WIP. I'm really enjoying the cotton merino. It doesn't feel like 100% wool, but it's not hard on my hands to work with. So that's really nice. Should bring that one back out again. But I've got so many other things to finish as well. And there's no test knit, there's no timeline, there's just a fun cast on. You've also seen my blanket before. my test knit of the Hurley blanket for the Crayabaya. So I was already working on the blanket test knit when I signed up for the Kintra bag, and I finished the Kintra bag quite quickly. But the Hurley blanket's still ongoing. I have pretty much finished knitting all of the zigzags. I was originally going to make 24, but I feel like that's actually going to be a bit disproportionate for how wide the blankets ended up. This width isn't particularly wide to then have it 24 stripes long. It's going to end up looking like a beach towel. And I don't know if I want a blanket that looks like a beach towel. I'm using mini skeins held with brushed merino, and so I have 80 meters of each of the colors, and so this is as long as I could get my stripe from 80 meters. I've made 18 stripes. I have one more that is half done, so this is number 19. For symmetry's sake, it would be nice to have 20, but I don't know if I have it in me to cast on another one once this one is done. And I joined the first two. So I thought I would start joining, and that's when I kind of got the impression that it's going to look ridiculous if I do 24, so maybe I just stop now. So this is the join of the first one. In the pattern, it comes with 3 joining options, either a join as you go, which obviously I didn't do, a tutorial just on using like mattress stitch or whip stitch to pop them together, which was my initial thought that I would do. But I've actually tried out the other option that they've talked about, and that in the pattern, and that is a crochet join. So it actually has this quite definitive join that goes through, and I've just used the brushed yarn, the brushed merino, because obviously I don't have any more of each of the mini skeins. Well, I do have little bits, but I don't have enough to crochet down the center, and then you'd have to pick one color or the other color, and I'm just going to do a white. I also like how it kind of brings the marling into, like, it kind of makes it more deliberate, having the white through the middle. So I've joined those first two. It didn't take overly long, but it wasn't super quick and easy either. So I have 18 of these to join. I'll pop up a photo. I've got some photos of the stripes with the colors that I had to do that I haven't yet done. And you'll kind of see from the picture that the fade that I was doing is still going to work even without those extra skeins. I think it will be fine. And I feel like I just don't want a beach towel. It needs to not be that long. It needs to peel back just a little bit so that it's literally just going to be a lap blanket, because it's not very wide, but it does go over my lap. When I'm just sitting on the couch or in my chair, it will cover my legs quite nicely. And I don't think it needs to have 24, but if I get to the point where I feel like actually it does, I could just put them in, because these crochet joins are quite easy to undo. You know, like I can just undo the first stitch and I just rip it back, so I could do that if I want to slot some more in somewhere. Hopefully not. I'm kind of over this project. I'm really ready for it to be done. And the other side, the back doesn't look bad either. It kind of just looks like you've sewn it together. So that's kind of the effect you would get if you stitched it. And this is the effect with the crochet. So it's kind of cool that you can have both, and I do like that, because with a garter stitch blanket, you kind of hope that it would be reversible. So I think that this makes it. So I will continue with that crochet join. I think hopefully by the next time I podcast, I will have put it all together. The deadline for this is the 24th of December. I am keen to have it done by the end of November so that I can free myself up for all the Advent knitting. Yeah, so progress, because I've made a lot more stripes since last episode. I had a real big push over about a week and made quite at least one a day, and I ended up with a big sore on my finger because I did too much of the same knitting on the same gauge needles with the same yarn in the same week. So I had to pause, and that's why I've got a half done one, because I just had to pause. And then I got distracted. Yes. I surely got distracted. What else have you seen before? I had talked about, on my last episode, starting a top for the Lovely Day Knits Kurawakika cowl. So I have cast that on. I can't remember if I'd cast it on last time or whether I just showed you the yarn. But here's the yarn. I got a second skein of this from Mama Wooling just to make sure I have enough. This is called Smoky Quartz on her plush fingering. And then this one is by Skein Yarn. And I cannot remember its colorway name. I do have the tag but not with me. So I'm using that with that to make this beautiful singlet by Kurawakika. That is called, I can't remember what it's called, guys. Nope, it's left me. I'll pop it on the screen. I'll pop a photo of what the original looked like. So this is how far I got. I finished the back panel, which is knit flat, and I cast on, like I picked up stitches and cast on for the first front, which folds there. Look at my pickup. I was actually quite impressed with this. I'll move a bit closer to the camera. That's pretty seamless, like you can see it, but I think that's the best pickup I've ever done. I'm quite stoked with how that looks. Anyway, so I've just done that very first little bit of one of the fronts. This is a fingering weight yarn. The pattern is a 24 stitch gauge, so you can use anything from a fingering through a sport to a light DK, and you'll get a different weight of fabric. And I've hit gauge, and I'm using the fingering, and I'm using a 3.25 millimeter needle. So that's how it's looking with the stripe sequence, and I'm really liking it. I think it's quite gorgeous. It feels beautiful. The skein yarn has 10% cashmere, and the Mama Wooling is her sock blend, but it's a super fine, extra fine merino with 15% nylon, but it is beautiful. So I'm working away at that. I haven't actually picked this up for a couple days about a week, to be honest, because I had cast this on and got quite far, and then I was like, I really need to go back to the blanket. So then I just took about a week working really hard on the blanket. And since I had to stop working on the blanket, I've cast on some gift knits for Christmas and also cast on another singlet top, which also happens to be a test knit. So I'll talk about that one, and then I'll talk about the gift knits. So I signed up for this test knit by this designer I'd never heard of before. Didn't really think I would get in because I've never heard of her before. But she had a real struggle getting test knitters for this pattern. I think just because of the timeline of it being close to Christmas. So she extended her timeline on it from 6 weeks to 10 weeks, and eventually got enough test knitters to go ahead. And I said yes, I would still go ahead with test knitting. And I cannot remember the designer's name or the pattern name, so I'll put them on the screen with a photo. But this is it's a vest. It's a button-up vest. So, like designed to go as an overlayer on top of like a long sleeve tee or something like that in the colder months, because this is a European designer. I asked if I could do a summer version because I'm in the southern hemisphere, and they agreed. And so my intention is to wear this top as just like a singlet top. So it's got a V-neck and buttons down the front, and I will just wear it always buttoned and wear it like a tank top rather than as a vest. I don't know, there's so many names for these things. Anyway, I've done the back panel as well. So this is the design. It has these beautiful eyelets and then these garter rows with stockinette in between. And so I've finished the back panel, and I was comparing these actually. I'm doing size 4 of the pattern, and I think I'm doing size 4 of the Kurawakika one as well. And they're very similar, which bodes well that I've picked a size that will actually fit. I have a history. This one fits with kind of negative to neutral ease because I made it a long time ago when I was a bit smaller, to be completely honest. All my singlet tops I've made recently have turned out really big, and that's okay, but they don't really fit the way I want them to. So, but I just wanted to show you that they do actually pretty much match up in size and shape. So that bodes well. They're either going to both fit great or both fit terrible. Next steps for this one is that I pick up on the shoulders like that and work down the two fronts. And this one is obviously completely worked flat because it is a button up. But once I get down to this point, it will be one big long row. And I may or may not, I think I might do faux buttons for the front because I don't intend to ever wear it open. I might not put buttonholes in the button band, and I might just sew the buttons through both layers so that I can not ever have the worry of it opening up. We'll see when we get to that point. For this, I am using Pill Soho linen quill, which I have had in my stash for quite some time. I was gifted this a couple of years ago when I did a swap with Megan from A Knotty Mess, and we did a US New Zealand yarn swap. We sent each other a package, and she sent me this because I said I would love to try some Pill Soho linen quill because I'd heard a lot about it online. It is 439 yards to 100 grams, so it's like a fingering weight. It's a hand wash, and it's a blend of wool, alpaca, and linen, and it is called Bright Flamingo, which I think is quite fitting. And I actually got my nails done today, and I got them done in a colour that would match this, so that when I take FO photos, it's cohesive. Isn't it cute? Also goes with it. You can tell I like this colour. Yeah, so working away on that. That's only taken me a couple of days to get through that, so it should be a pretty quick knit because there's no sleeves and it's cropped. This is, I'm holding it double. I have 2 full skeins, and then I also have a mini skein, which I was gifted at some point, which completely unrelated, but it's definitely Bright Flamingo Pill Soho linen quill. So, look, you couldn't tell the difference. So that's pretty cool. So I should have enough meterage to finish that one. This is how far I've made it through my first ball, holding it double. I'm really enjoying it to work with. It's really nice and tactile. Definitely has a bit of grip to it, being Highland wool, and also having that linen. And we'll see, hopefully it doesn't stretch too badly when it blocks out, because I've actually hit gauge perfectly unblocked. So hopefully it will retain. We will see. We will see. I think I have just my little gift knit WIPS and my November socks to talk to you about now. I need to hurry up and finish off because I've got 10 minutes left before I'm likely to have visitors. And I've just had a message from my mother-in-law who wants to call me, so we better get cracking. I cast this on when I got fed up with my blanket. Each year I try to do gift Christmas gifts for my kids' school teachers, because my children spend so much time in the presence of their school teachers during the year, and I really value what they invest into my children. And so I don't just want to buy chocolates or a bottle of wine. I actually like to invest something back into them and make them something hand knit. So there's 4 teachers that I'm going to knit for this year. My oldest daughter is finishing intermediate, and she has her regular classroom teacher and her tech performing arts teacher, who she's really got on well with, and I would like to make gifts for each of them. And then my daughter has a male teacher. She's my 10-year-old, she's in the middle, and my youngest daughter has a female teacher who my oldest daughter had once before, and so I've already previously made a crochet scarf for her. I don't know, 5-6 years ago when my oldest daughter was in primary school. So I need to think of something different to make for her this year. But she's very knitworthy. I've seen her wearing the scarf. She really values it. So I'm happy to make her a second thing. So this is for the performing arts teacher. We went to a matinee performance of the Nutcracker by the Royal New Zealand Ballet with Ella's school class. I got to go on the trip last week. It was a delight, apart from being in a theatre with 1,000 children. Was a bit much, but the ballet was beautiful, and her teacher was wearing a top to toe pale pink outfit, and so I thought, perfect, I'll make her pale pink fingerless mitts for her gift. This is the cloudburst pattern. I've made this before. It's free on Ravelry, and so I have finished one and then did not want to cast on another the second one. But I really liked this pattern. It knit up really quite quickly. I just did it over a couple of days. The lace pattern is really memorizable. And yeah, it's lovely. I used 2 different yarns that I have on combs. One is like merino nylon cashmere, and the other one is merino nylon and fox fur. I think there might be some alpaca in there too. They're real blends of things, but they've come out really lovely, and I think once I block them it will get really like quite plush and soft and lovely. So I've done one of those. I did not feel like casting on the second one, so of course I cast on the pair of gloves that I'm going to make for a different teacher. This is for my youngest daughter's teacher, the one who's had the scarf before, and I thought fingerless mitts would suit her as well. As teachers, they have to go and do the like road patrol, the pedestrian crossings for the kids in the mornings at school, and patrol the lunch breaks on the playground, etc. And so I feel like a pair of fingerless mitts will actually be quite useful. Not right now because it's going to be midsummer soon, but something they could actually use. So I thought that's a useful gift to give. These are the Twisted Knot or something like that. I'll put the name on the screen. Mitts by Athelia Handmade. And I'm sorry, I just had a message come in from my mother-in-law. I'm just going to have to check that and get back to you in just a mo. I'm back. Sorry if it looks different. I had to stop and do a quick errand for my mother-in-law. So I was talking about gift knits, eh? I was talking about this glove. Yes, so anyway, it's by Donnybrook Designs, who's a New Zealand designer. And it's really quick. I only started this yesterday afternoon, and I've only worked on it for a couple of hours at most. It's a DK weight pattern, and I am using Highland Heathers once again from Skeins. My daughter reports that her teacher's favourite colour is light purple, so this is the best match for light purple that I had in my stash. It's called Rosewell, and it's this beautiful heathery, got like pinks in there, like mauve tones, these lilac tones, really pretty. I'm holding it with the same mohair that I'm using for my Pressed Flowers cardigan, which is Smoky Quartz from Skeins. It's their Whisper mohair, but their trial version that they sold off cheap when they decided it wasn't quite the right composition, which I had quite a bit of in my stash. So I'm holding that with that, and getting this beautiful situation. I have just finished the thumb gusset increases, so I'm about to put those thumb stitches there on hold and then finish a few more rows in the pattern and do some rib, and the first one will be done. So that should get finished today, I think. Yeah, I think that looks really nice. It's really quick and easy, and it's quite effective, and it looks more complicated than it is. So that's good, eh? I've definitely got this set up differently. I'm sorry. Better? So that's the second pair of gloves on the needles. I haven't started the gloves for the man teacher yet. I'm going to do a similar thing, fingerless gloves, but just all in like 2x2 rib, I think, to make it more masculine. And my daughter has requested they be in like a fawny brown, khaki brown kind of colour, because apparently her teacher wears brown shorts almost every day. And black is not the right choice, which is what I would have gone for. But so that's what I'm going to do for her. And my daughter's class teacher forgot to get it out. I'll just have a rummage in my knitting project box here and see if I can find where I put it. I was cleaning out some stuff last week and I found, no, it's not in here, is it? No, it's not in that project bag. I don't know where I put it. I found a shawl, anyways, that I had started a long time ago, many years ago, probably 2021 or something. And I never finished it because I was knitting it using leftovers and I just didn't like how it was turning out. And I kind of hit a point in a colour transition and I was like, I'm not convinced about this. And then I never went back to it. But I found it when I was doing a bit of a clear out, when I was doing some Advent prep. Here it is. And I thought, I'm going to see if Ella thinks her teacher would like this. And if she thinks she does, I'll finish it and gift it to the teacher. So this is the shawl. It is the Climbing Staircases, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And this, what colour would you call this? I don't know. This variegated colour is Malabarigo Rios. And then this deep petrol-y colour is called Nomad, and it was a Polworth Camel blend that Skeins put out at one point. And I have a whole shawl in this colour, and I also have the yoke of a t-shirt top in this colour, and this is the last bit of the leftovers. So I just have half a 50-gram ball, maybe 25 grams to put in to this. So yeah, I'm just probably going to do the eyelet lace the whole rest of the way, I think, because I feel like that'll look the most cohesive. And finish this off. So that should only be 1 or 2 days knitting in itself, a couple hours to get through that. I can normally knit through 100 meters in a day, and this is probably only 50 meters. So like 1 or 2 good sessions on this and it will be done. And then with the added length, I don't want to knock the microphone, but it should be plenty big enough to wrap around and gift to that teacher. And Ella thought she would like it, that she would like the colours. So, and it's too good to just left coiled up in a bag, never being seen the light of day. So I shall finish that one and give that to her. I'm pleased I found which project bag I put it in. One of my favourite ones. Ohi Locatelli little bucket bag. Love that one. Yes, okay. Oh my gosh, too much talking, guys. Too much fast talking. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm really running out of time now. So we'll wrap up this furious WIP parade. I have no other plans other than the other gloves for the teacher because I have a hell of a lot on my needles. I'm really excited actually about all these projects. Okay, slightly unexcited about the blanket, but I'm really excited to have it done. So I'm just going to have to use finishing motivation to get there. These are so quick that I'm stoked about that. That'll be done soon. These took a little bit longer because it's fingering weight, but I really love how they turned out. I think she'll love them, so I'm excited about that. Very achievable Christmas teacher gifts, and I feel like I will just modify this pattern to use for the man's ones. Instead of doing this lace situation, I'll just do rib away, and the numbers hopefully will work out. That's my intention for those. 2 singlet tops, the backs are done. I need to do the fronts and then join in the round, and then I'll be away and kicking on those. The green knitting for Olive one, well, that'll get done when it gets done. I'm not too worried about that. Oh, I haven't shown you my November socks. November socks. I'll put in a picture of the skeins from Mama Willings for this month. It was called like Flowers and Raindrops or something. I don't have the mini skein with me. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to use it for the toe or not for this pair, but I've decided to do like a little ankle sock with a picot edge rather than a rib. So I've got a little picot there, and then I've got these little eyelet that I just made up. Put my hand in, can you see them? Just little like triangle eyelets to be kind of like flowers. Spring flowers and raindrops or something. So the other one's like a beautiful tealy blue, the mini skate. From through the heel on this one, I'm just going to do stockinette the rest of the way. And because I don't have rib, I didn't want to do a longer cuff. Plus, I just done recently some more longer cuff ones. So these are just a little ankle sock again. And I didn't think it would stay up without rib higher on the calf. So that's what I'm working on for the November socks. Such a pretty colorway. Such a me color. Love it, love it, love it. Those are my November socks. And then I'm not going to show you spinning things. I just don't have time. I'll have to show you spinning things on the next episode. I won a little prize at my Spinners and Knitters Guild. It was our AGM this week, and they have a little competition that you can enter something you've completed in the last year. And there's a knitting category, a crochet category, like a weaving, felting, anything goes, and novice spinner. And I learnt to spin this year thanks to this wonderful club of ladies. And so I took along a skein that I had just recently finished plying, that I had just spun this year, my best one yet, and I won. Woohoo! I think I was the only entry, but we will just pretend that that's not the case. And so yeah, I get a little trophy, which I haven't got now because they're going to engrave my name on it, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, so that's quite awesome. So I have been doing some spinning, but I'll show it to you next time when I have a little bit more time. And I did get my fiber club in from Handmaiden, which I love it, I love it, I love it. It's a flat base on flowers, that fiber club, and this month's one was peonies. Oh, it's pink. Can you believe it? Of course. It was just wonderful. I got pink sock yarn and pink spinning fiber. Oh, I'm in heaven. I'm so happy. And I also picked this up from Handmaiden because she was doing a few of these as limited edition breast cancer fundraisers. And so this, I've never had a hand-dyed self-striping sock yarn before. And when it comes in a gobstopper ball, it's just so delightful. With this beautiful little star progress keeper. So I had to get this. A silver sparkle sock, 75% merino, 15% nylon, 10% stellina. So it's got a silver sparkle. You can kind of see that there. All pinks. Oh, I love it. So this was like a little early Christmas gift to myself. And because I knit so many pairs of socks this Socktober, I entered into some Socktober Cals, and I actually won a prize from Lupine. Yay, Lupine! Thank you so much for picking me as one of your prize winners. And I just received that parcel today, which is quite cool. And I won this. These two gorgeously coloured opal sock yarns. Are they not stunning? How fun will these socks be to knit? I've not actually used opal yet, amazingly. I haven't done a lot of commercial sock yarns. I've mostly done hand dyed. So excited to knit those up. And it came with a couple of little other accessories from, this is from Goodwill Hunting. They're called Greytown Fibre Co. But they have this beautiful, I've used this before, this knitter's balm that they make themselves. And there's also these beautiful stitch markers. So thank you so much to Alana and the team at Lupine for that lovely gift. I was going to be knitting socks anyway, so no brainer to enter into a Socktober Cal, and I'm so stoked to have such a lovely prize. So I shall have plenty of supplies for all my socks for next year. Those were the only real acquisitions I wanted to talk about. Oh, I did go to the Wool Yarns cone sale with my bestie who came down from Fielding to go with me, and we did go to that yesterday, and I did buy some yarn on some cones, even though I didn't really need it. We were relatively reserved. I haven't got it here to show you, so I'll show that next episode if I remember. I got this beautiful cone of this rich dark purple fingering weight cotton possum merino blend. And then my friend and I went halvesies on 2 other cones, a merino silk blend, and that's kind of like a very pale blush pink kind of color, and another merino cotton possum blend that's like a mid blue. And I have 100% linen cone in my stash already that's like almost exactly the same color. And they're both like lace weight, so we're going to each have enough to hold it together and make matching singlet tops. That's the plan. And we actually both wore matching sweaters. We never took a photo. We should have took a photo. We wore, I made both of them. I made these like during COVID or sometime around then when I first started knitting a lot more for adult sizes. And I can't remember what this pattern is called. Check my Ravelry project page. It's super pilly. But I made one of these for me, and I made one for Helen, and they're basically the same colour. With beautiful lace detail down the sleeve. And we wore matching jumpers to the wool yarns cone sale. And it was magical. It was so nice. It was really, really cool. I've been several years to that sale, and I've often taken Helen with me on the phone. This year she wasn't working and I wasn't working, and I'd been up to visit her several times recently, and so she came down to visit me this time. So it was delightful to wear matching jumpers with my bestie to go to a wool sale to buy wool. And I treated her, everything that she chose I brought for her as her Christmas gift, so that felt great. I love that. Love buying wool for other people, and then it justifies what I'm buying for myself, especially when we're going halvesies. So I've got a lot of caking up in my future to separate those cones, but that's okay. All good. What else to say? This is getting very chatty. There's not really much else to say. Life has been just busy with the midwife working. Our hospital is absolutely pumping at the moment. There's so many babies to be born over December and January. So it's been very busy at work. It's been very nitty at home. I'm trying to be more active, get out in the sunshine a bit more. And yeah, just kind of trying to be intentional about moving my body and what I'm putting into it, alongside long work hours and lots of sitting on the couch knitting. I've done some knitting outside in the sunshine, which has been so nice, but I have got sunburnt a couple of times already, which is not ideal. So I do have to watch out for that. I need to find an outdoor shady spot where I can knit. Not quite been warm enough yet. Like, it's kind of that point of spring transitioning into summer where it's like really warm if you're sitting in the sun, but if you're sitting in the shade and if there's any breeze, you're too cold. So it's that, hence I got burnt. Because you get burnt all the time, no matter what the weather in New Zealand. And if there's direct sunshine, you definitely get burnt. Anyways, that's how it goes. Oh, 2 of my advents have arrived. I ordered the Mulled Magic advent from Mama Wooling, and I also have done a Scrappy Swap advent with someone who reached out to me through the podcast when I first mentioned that. So excited about. We sent them to each other this week and we've both received them, and we're both so excited. Can't wait for December 1st to start opening my little Scrappy and hand-dyed advents. So after only having a Scrappy one last year and not purchasing any, which was so hard, I'm really excited to have one again this year. I have 2. How spoiled am I? And what else? I signed up for the Mystery Gnome knit along for December as well. So me and my bestie Helen, who went to the yarn cones with me, wool yarns cones, we're going to do the Mystery Gnome MCAL, so that'll be exciting in December. I shall probably think of something Advent knitty to do, or I might just work on all my gifts and socks. Yeah, and all my singlet tops. I think I have enough material to be getting on with, but you know me, I'll probably cast something else on for Advent knitting other than my gnome. Maybe I can just do the gnome. Maybe. we'll see how much we get through by the end of the month, because it's coming up quickly. I don't know if I have anything else I need to say. Nah, can't think of anything. I really need to sign off because literally my kids are going to walk through the door at any moment. So thank you so much for joining me on this rambly, chatty episode all about what I've been making and what I'm going to make and what I have cast on and what I have planned. So yes, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with me in this tiny little corner of YouTube. I have such a small little channel, but such lovely followers. So thank you very much for being here. Feel free to spread the word if you would like to like this video. That would be really helpful to help get it out there. I'm hoping 2026 can be a more consistent podcasting year for me, but I can't make any promises at this point. But hopefully I will be able to be here, continue to be here and share my craftiness with you because I really enjoy doing it. Please leave me a comment if you'd like. My next episode will actually be an anniversary episode, I've realised, because I started podcasting on the 30th of November 2 years ago. This is my second anniversary coming up for my next episode. So I will attend, I think I have Monday the 1st of December off. So I will plan to podcast then, and I will have a giveaway for my 2-year anniversary. So please come back and join me again then to see what I got through in the rest of November and enter into the giveaway for my anniversary episode. Thank you so much. Please like this video if you don't mind, and if you would like to get notified when I make a new episode, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thank you. Merry Christmas, because Christmas is coming. I'm going to put my tree up this week. I'm so excited. I've got my Christmas earrings. Christmas earring season has started and Advents have arrived and Christmas gift knitting is happening and I'm all excited because I love Christmas. So thank you again. I've got to stop talking. Sorry. I'm a bit shocking, aren't I? And I haven't probably been looking at the camera properly this whole time. I've probably been looking at myself. I do apologize for my very poor podcasting skills. And I thank you again for taking the time to be with me. I will see you soon. Until then, happy knitting. And I will, look forward to catching up with you in the comments, in the DMs on Instagram, or on my next episode. Ka kite.